Okay, in this Fusion 360 tutorial, it's going to show you some basic ways we can change our types of extrusions. We already know that if we make a particular shape, like if we make a square, we can make this, and then in our third dimension, we can extrude that and we can make a shape like this. We can also pick any of these particular surfaces and we can extrude them, right? And uh, we can even get a scenario where we have an angled piece of, we have something at an angle, and then we can extrude that, and then we can sketch on this surface over here, and then we can then extrude this, and it's extruded at it looks like it's extruded at an angle. But what all these extrusions have in common is all these extrusions are exactly perpendicular to the surface. So before we can extrude, you've seen in tutorials before that the surface has to be flat. It has to be a representation of a Cartesian plane, which the basic Cartesian planes are like x and y, y, so x, y, x, z, and z, y. But a Cartesian plane is any sort of flat surface in the x, y, z coordinates. And so here you have a flat surface, so we can extrude this circle out of it. And it's always coming out at a perpendicular. But Fusion 360 also gives us other options. If we have a shape over here, we can make us another rectangle over here. When we go to extrude this shape, we can just get a regular shape over here. You also have this dial over here. This is, you can modify the angle at which your extrusion is. So it's still going it's still going perpendicular up or down, but it's either getting larger or smaller depending on how you do your shape. And they call this term over here the taper angle. So you can make it, if you make it 30, it's going to change your angle of that to 30. If you make it into a negative angle, it's going to go in. This is how you can start to do basic things like pyramids. But the thing with this is, even though it looks like it's not at 90 degrees, it is actually a 90-degree shape, but all the walls are all pointing in at the same angle. So you can't build a parallelogram. You can build like a trapezium or a pyramid, and it can't go 360, but you can change your angle as you do that. So that's one way you can get angle offsets. But let's say we actually want this to be like a parallelogram. I'm just going to delete this. So we actually want this to be like a parallelogram. How we can do that is we need to draw another shape on top. So we can go to construction, we can make an offset plane. This is our original plane we have here, and let's say we want the height of this thing to be 20 centimeters, right? And so we already know this square over here. Does this square have dimensions? Can I inspect it? We know that is 16 by 25, right? We can go over here to sketch, we can sketch over here, and we have to make the top half of this parallelogram, and so we can make a thing over here. We can change our dimensions to 16 by 25, and that's going to be the top of our parallelogram. And then we can then go over here, we can go to Loft, which Loft creates a transition shape between two or more sketch profiles. So we can Loft, we can press, this is our first shape and this is our second shape. And there it is. We have the parallelogram. Now, Loft is a much more powerful tool than to just do a parallelogram, right? Because it can do to different shapes. So if, for example, this over here, if this shape was slightly different, so we can edit this sketch over here. We could, can we rotate this sketch? In theory, if that sketch was rotated, we can also still do our lofting tool. But if we just want to do it for the point of a parallelogram, we can. It's going to be a lot simpler. It also sometimes freaks out, like what's happening there? It's trying to find where the edges meet. But we just want ours to be in this stage over here. Now, what happens if we have a shape that we don't innately know what the dimensions are? I mean, we could measure it, but let's say it's a bit weird. And I'm trying this because I haven't done this before, but I think you can, when we press our dimensions over here, I think you can project and include. We want to include this shape over here. We want to include that length, and we want to include that length, right? And what we're going to do is when we have our dimensions, we'll just delete these dimensions. Now when we insert dimensions, we can click this point over here, and for its length, we should be able to, let's measure this. I think we can measure this length over here. We know this is 16, and we know this is over here. Okay, we should be able to make this length over here equal this length, and we should make this length over here equal this length. I think that's going to work. And then, so if we go to this original sketch down here, which sketch was it? Was it this one? Nope, nope. If we want to change, I think we can change this length by here. If we want to bring this down to like this, it should. Nah, it didn't work. It's not going to directly copy it. What if I go to this sketch? No, okay, so we still gotta manually change the sizes. But we can still use it. We could also use our project tool to measure it and to find out what the shape is. So that's extruding things at an angle. We can do. Oh, we also have other options. So we have, so this over here is a loft. We also have the option to make a shape over here. We can make a, for this particular one, let's make something interesting. Let's make an octagon. Cool. This particular one, we can also use the sweep tool, where we get to follow a line. So we first got to pick the line that we want our sketch to follow. So if we go like this, we are at an right angle. We can I don't want that last line. We can have a line going out like this, and then we can say this particular shape over here, we want to sweep it. So the profile we want is this hexagon over here. The path we want it to follow is this line over here, and that hexagon is going to be following that path. And this works great, or this works better if you, this particular loft, if you wanted to do the loft to look like this hexagon shape, you'd have to do a different shape at every like corner. But this one we can do it all at once. We can do it parallel. Can we do it parallel? No. We can do it perpendicular. So it's going to always be at right angles to the line. Then we press OK, and we can even adjust. I'm pretty sure we can adjust our original sketch here. We can even fillet our line, and the thing is it gonna follow? Maybe I've got to redo it. We've got to adjust the path. Cancel. Over here. sweep. We want this path to sweep, this shape to sweep by this. No, it's not going to work. It must be 2 something. The path is adjacent to the profile. Oh, I think okay. I think the corners too. I think the corners are too sharp. Uh, can we adjust this sketch to just make this shape smaller, please? Now that it's smaller, it should work. So if we want this shape over here, we want the path to be this over here. No? Alright, I'm not sure why it's not working. Maybe we had to make the curve a different shape to begin with. But let's just bring it back to where it was before. Forward, forward. Create a sketch. Sketch over here. Start by doing a line like this. A line, a line, and a line. And go escape. And now let's make a big curve here. Okay, and press finish. And we'll see if this works now. Create, sweep, that shape, that path. Okay, it works. It's ugly, but it works. So if you look at that going off here, I think this one will work. No, this one won't work parallel either. So you can have here, you can have that shape going off. You can do a curve. This one of you has the bow. You might use a tool similar to this to get like that curve on your bow. You can do that there. All right, so now we've shown how to make extrusions that so extrusions is just perpendicular. We can use sweep and loft to make extrusions come out at angles. You can also use we're going to use the other 2 tools, revolve. We're going to use revolve and loft. So revolve and extrude to show you how to do cones, because some of you have asked for that. So when we want to make a cone, we can use a revolve tool by essentially a cone is just a triangle, right? So over here we have a triangle over here, as in it's a triangle that's spun around 360 degrees. Over here we have a triangle. We can press the revolve tool. We can click the triangle. We can select the axis that we want it to revolve around. So this axis over here, and then bang, there is your cone. You can choose the angle you want if you want it to be part of a cone. You can do the whole thing. What do we want? We want 360, don't we? Cool. And you can do that. When you have your original sketch, you can also have you can basically have any shape you want when you do your original sketch, and it's going to get that shape and try to still revolve it. And now you have, like, look, it's like the inside of an engine. You can also do, if your cone is very simple, you can sketch onto a flat surface just a circle. This is like the base of the cone, right? And when you can extrude this, as you extrude, it's just going to be a cylinder. But how we change our angle, if you change our angle like this, you just got to know the angle that your cone is at. So if you determine your angle is going to be at minus 50 degrees, right? That's going to be your cone. If your angle is going to be at so 90 is flat, it's not going to do anything, and 0 is perpendicular. So 10 degrees, no, minus 10 degrees, minus 10 degrees means you're going to have a cone that it's going to have it's going to be at like 10 degrees is 10 degrees from the perpendicular. So the angle from the wall to the base, if that's how you're used to measuring angles for cones, is going to be at 80 degrees. You can also, if you want just part of a cone but not the whole cone, you can also do it through the lofting tool, where we can have some sort of base function over here. But this particular one, you probably want to get some maths involved, just because it's going to make your cone look better. So this over here is a 50. This over here is a 50 diameter. So let me just write 50 down on my sheet over here. This is 50. So I want it to be 50, 40, 30, 20. Alright, so I have 50 diameter over here, close. I'm then going to construct a plane. I'm going to press this surface over here, and so I did that fast. Construction, offset plane. I'm going to pick this sketch over here. This sketch over here is still a plane because it's a sketch. I can click it, so now I'm going to make a sketch that's going to be offset from that sketch. And let's say I want that sketch to be 20 centimeters upwards. I click it, then I'm going to go sketch on that plane, and I'm going to make another cone, but this one's going to be 40, another circle, this one's going to be 40, and then I can do the same thing. I can do construction over here, 20, and then over here, this one will be 30. The advantage of this over here is, let's say I don't want it to be a cone the whole way. Let's say I want it to go in as a cone, then out as a cone. It's going to look like a weird looking hourglass, basically, or like two funnels connected together. This one over here and this one over here. Let's go out again. Finish. And the last one, we have to make another offset plane. And now we have these discs over here. We can then go to our lofting tool, and we can click all our individual points. And there we have our cones. So these cones they're trying to be smooth, right? Because it's trying to make a nice smooth, it's trying to make like an hourglass. If you want this, keep this, right? If this is the type of look you want, this is a very organic look you can get. Your options are, if you don't want that to happen, right, if you want it to be sharp, you can remove, you can do it in two sections. So we can do that part of the loft, and then we can do the other half of the loft. Or we can go 1, 2, 3, and so we have two individual cones. This one allows you the most accuracy and allows you to get weird shapes. If you imagine if you had these shapes over here, if you had this, and let's say we copied this, our faces, we want to copy these bodies. We want this body and this body. Oh, it's one body, yes. And we want our direction to be this way. An example of, like, if you have these like this, now all of a sudden that's like a handle of like a sword or something like that. You can start to get those patterns. And so that's extruding at weird angles and making cones. Oh, an extension of a cone, if you're doing the revolve tool, I may as well show you now how to make an ice cream cone, right? Because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants to see an ice cream cone being made. Let's go to here, home. I just want to sketch something, please. I'm running out of space. Alright, so what does an ice cream cone look like? You have this part going out here. An ice cream cone has like this over here, and then you have some sort of lip over here for the ice cream, and you have some sort of piece like that, and then it goes down the middle. Yep, and then goes out like that, and then we're just going to trim some things to make it look nice. We don't want this, we don't want this, we don't care about that, we don't want that, and we don't want this over here. We do want this to be hollow though, so trim that away, and then we finish the sketch, and this is going to be, if we then revolve this surface around this angle over here is going to be our cone. Okay, and then we are also going to sketch in that same plane. We want to make the ball of ice cream. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my view, display settings, visual style, wireframe with hidden edges, so I can see. Was that the right one? Hold on. Wireframe. So I can see what the inside frame looks like because I don't want my ice cream to be fake. Pick a shape over here. So this over here is going to be like, let's say that's going to be one ball of ice cream, and let's say you have a double scoop of ice cream over here. When we do our revolve tool, we're going to need a halfway line, and then we're going to cut. We'll just cut all of these over here. Done. Let's get it out of wireframe so we can see this. We're going to do shaded with visible edges only. And now we're just going to revolve this tool over here. The axis we're going to revolve around is this over here. And we'll make this, it is a new body, and there you have an ice cream cone. Wonderful. And it's even got the smooth bottom for realism. And then you can change that later. Alright, that is for this tutorial. And we'll see you in the future.